Today we are going to talk about the base in Arknights. We are going to talk about what I would change and add to the current base system. This script is just going to be like the Arknights base, still in beta. So I might just take the first iteration of the script and leave it like that for the jokes. After all, this gameplay mechanic or this part of Arknights is the biggest meme in the community. Because after 4.5 years, this essential part of the game is still in beta. And maybe at this point, the base will stay beta until we reach EOS. And with this, welcome to I don't know how many things I would like to see in the base presented by me. But let's get the things out of the way that every YouTuber does. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Can't have you forget about that. Because more likes and more subscribers are good for me. And so would be more slots for rooms. Especially more trading posts and factories. And we all know why this would be useful. First of all, we have a lot of operators nowadays, with many of them having trade posts or even factory skills. But unfortunately, they will not see the base a single time during their entire lifetime, because there are like established base combos of operators that are much more effective, which you can cycle pretty well. By giving us more rooms, we would be able to have more of those squads active at the same time, therefore making it easier to acquire the important resources like LMD and backer records to level up those many operators. Unless you have been stockpiling or constantly adjusting your base to maximize LMD and EXP gain, you will run out of those materials pretty soon. Especially when you are one of those people like me that find it very tedious to constantly disassemble and reassemble your base to optimize the amount of LMD and EXP, while at the same time trying to level up a lot of operators that might come in useful in the future, because you have neglected them for way too long. Did I really neglect all of you? Because me personally, I just want to log in once or twice a day and manage my base while still having a decent gain. So more factories, more trade posts, definitely good. And speaking of the factory, give me options to craft more things. One of the things I would really like to craft would be module blocks, data sticks and data instruments. Just like with operators, we are also getting more and more modules to build, with many of them being extremely good. But unfortunately, all of the module materials are kinda limited. Module blocks can only be acquired a certain amount of times every month, and data sticks and instruments can only be acquired through SSS. Having the option to exchange some materials for module material will also make things easier, instead of having to wait for the weekly or monthly reset. And also, I'm looking at you here, SSS. You traumatized me to a point where I don't want to play it anymore. I should give this mode a try again. From what I've heard, they actually improved it a lot since its first release. And while we are on the topic of more rooms, how about we get a second training room? How nice would this be for new players and some people that are trying to catch up with their operators to be able to level up multiple skills at once? Everyone that has invested in skill masteries knows that it takes like 2 days without a proper instructor to level up a single skill to maximum. With a proper instructor you can get this done in like 1.5 days. So having a second training room and therefore being able to master multiple skills at once would help out a lot, since so you would be able to progress faster. And in case you need an example where this would be useful, like when the harder game modes like CC or Design of Strifes were around, and you desperately needed to level up multiple operator skills at once to have a decent chance, this is where 2 training rooms or multiple training rooms would have been useful. Oh boy, now I really started working through all the rooms. So let's continue with that. Let's go to the reception room next. This room is actually perfectly fine. I don't know what to say about this room. But a room that is not perfectly fine is the power plant. Like, the power plant seems to be the most useless room in existence. Its only purpose is to increase the amount of rooms you can place. Give the power plant like an increase in drone limit, so that the drone resource actually has a use, instead of me just skipping building 3 chips every now and then. Because outside of that, these drones don't have any use. Speeding up orders, not really worth it. You will get 2 additional orders every time you use all your drones. And that would pretty much be it for the drones. Next, let's move on to the workshop. the hard piece of the base, because this is where you get all your materials from. And the one thing I want for the workshop is a material exchange function. So, turning your abundance of certain materials into other materials. Because we all have this one resource we have more than enough of. And we might not use it anymore, because we've pretty much used it for everything we could. Next up would be the office. Give me the option to trade for rare recruitment tags. Just give this place some more functionality instead of, oh yes, you gain your resets faster. Being able to trade for rare tags would also mean that you would be able to acquire a lot more of the rare operators, especially those that are locked behind recruitment. Because then I would finally be able to get my max pot pure stream. But now we also need some new things for the base, not just reworking old things, because we already have a lot of old things on this land ship. Wait, cancel, don't! First new room would be the gathering room. Pretty much send out operators to gain some additional materials. We all know this concept, many gachas have something similar to this. It just is to make the farming a bit easier. It would be passive material gain. Would this be a good room? I don't know. Would this be a needed room? For a lazy person, yes. Another fun idea to add to your land ship would be a sanity room. The concept in and of itself is simple. Use some material and gain additional sanity every day, so that we can also satisfy our need for more gameplay. Now sometimes you just want to farm more on a day than just your 130 sanity, but you are all out of sanity pots to use, so instead just exchange some materials for a bit of extra. And now finally one more room idea to finish this video off. A room that produces skip tickets, which you can then use to skip auto-deploy and get all of the rewards you need without having to watch the usual auto-deploy. And in this case I'm not referring to like the annihilation skip tickets, I'm just meaning like general use skip tickets. Because this is not a thing in this game, and auto-deploy can be kinda finicky. Like sometimes it is very reliant on RNG, and this is why an auto-deploy can break. This is why they did it for annihilation, because RNG can fuck you up pretty bad. So might as well give us the option for some of the stages as well, since there are some difficult stages that rely a lot on RNG to actually work. And with this video definitely is on the shorter end of things. This is because currently I am in a bit of a production hurry, if you want to put it at that, since next week I will be attending the German convention Dokumi. In case anyone should be there, feel free to meet me. Although I don't think I have that amount to reach to actually organize a fan meeting. But what rooms would you like to see? While you go to the comments, like and subscribe, and we will see each other again soon.